Making money is all in numbers. I've heard this said by Jim Rohn once upon a time, said that if he knows what the closing ratio is of anyone on the team and he knows how many doors they're knocking, he will beat them every time. Doesn't matter if he's the worst salesman or the best salesman, he will beat them every time because he'll beat them on the fact of numbers. Numbers give you statistics, and statistics will tell you whether you're going to win or lose. Every single time on a law of averages, it'll tell you it'll be right, which is why the house always wins, right? In blackjack, the house only wins like 52% of the time. And yet, there are people that count cards and beat the house, but the house wins on average more than 50% of the time. So, the game is played on the law of numbers. It doesn't matter if you're in business or if you're door knocking or if you're in sales, the law is averages and the law is numbers. If your closing ratio, if you have to, let's say you're canvassing houses and you have to canvass 100 houses in the course of a day, and out of that 100 houses, you got 25 of them to answer the door and you got 4 of them to set appointments. You know now that you have to knock on 100 doors to set 4 appointments. Well, if the goal is 8, that means you have to knock on 200 houses. That's a lot of doors to knock on and a lot of sidewalks to walk. However, now you have a number. So, all you have to do is do one of a couple things. You can figure out the best time of day to knock, and maybe you can increase those odds. Maybe instead of knocking on 100 doors, you only have to knock on 50 to set 4 appointments. Because you know that between the hours of 4 to 6, maybe the majority of people are home. That's the best time to knock on doors. Maybe you also narrow it down and find out that in certain neighborhoods where there are kids present, that it's better time of day to knock at certain times, right? Or maybe you determine that if I change up this in my sales pitch and my 30-second commercial, I can get this many more people to talk to me. Or maybe I need to do something different about the way that I talk, the speech, how clear I talk, things like that. If you can figure out what the law of averages are, you can beat everyone else. So if you know that the best salesman is setting 6 appointments a day, and you want to beat him by setting 7 appointments a day, and you figure that you're going to knock on 100 doors in order to do that. Well, if he's knocking on 50 doors and he's setting 6 appointments, what can you do to improve? Obviously, there's a way to improve, right? Now, he has a target on his back, so he's going to have to continue to figure out how he can improve as well, or you are going to catch him. But if he's comfortable where he's at, you'll beat him eventually. The law is in the numbers. Figure out how to improve the numbers and you'll win. And so if you're trying to beat 7, if his goal is 6, or if his goal and his action is 6, then how do you get to 6? At some point in time, if you knock on enough doors, you're going to get to 6. So if he has to knock on 50 and you have to knock on 100 to get to 6, then all you have to do is knock on 110 to get to 7, right? You'll figure it out, but you're going to have to figure out what the law of numbers are first. So start keeping track of your numbers and start doing the work. Nothing's easy.